Alright, this is the Writing to Learn Journal 3 from Chapter 3. The TEKS. The TEKS I chose is for high school, music level 2. The strand is creative expression. The knowledge and skill statement is the student sight reads, individually and in groups, by singing or playing an instrument. The student reads from notation at an increasing level of difficulty in a variety of styles. And the student expectation is to demonstrate correct articulation and rhythmic accuracy while sight reading using a counting system within an appropriate tempo. Alright, so the prior knowledge for this TEK would be everything they learned in middle school band, which I'm considering high school level 2 is about a sophomore in high school. So, I guess it would include freshman year, but alright. Then the vocabulary is vocabulary for describing articulations and rhythm in music notation. So, after reading the chapter, this will be a lot different for me because in high school music classes, there's not that much reading. Nothing compared to in college. As a matter of fact, I don't remember reading much in high school about music. So I'm gonna use like sight reading music or reading music instead of like reading a textbook. Reading ability in music, which is the reader's capability to comprehend and understand what they just read. I believe the same examples that are given in the book of reading ability can be used for reading music. For example, in the book it says that the student should have the ability to answer questions after reading, which, it's also like when you're reading music, you should be able to tell me what you just played, and the ability to summarize what has been read, which is the same thing. And also I believe they could also use the one that says the ability to choose from among several pictures the one that best represents the content of a selection. So this is actually something that musicians do when they play, because if you're like one step is reading the music, knowing what it says, what the music was, but to be able to really express that music, you have to go into the composer's or the author's head to really know what he was trying to do when writing that piece of music. So 3 levels of reading ability. Independent, the highest level at which there is good comprehension without assistance. Instructional, any level at which there is good comprehension as long as assistance is available. And frustration, the lowest level at which comprehension is inadequate, even when assistance is available. So in music, independent level would be somebody that can sight read the piece with no problems. Those I would even call them advanced students. And instructional would be about, average, like people who can do it but will not get it the very first time around. But I believe that's mostly everybody in music. And then the student in frustration level will most likely be one who maybe doesn't have the prior knowledge and experience. So they'll be the ones that will need the most help, and maybe it just has to do with experience, and they probably didn't have that much prior knowledge. Alright, the book then goes into the approaches for like assessing students and materials. So you can do it separately. That's the first example, first approach. So it says the book used standardized tests, which I don't think is a great option for a music class. But I know there are some tests out there. Everything in music is mostly just playing it and going from there. And the other one for approach 1 is this, which requires the teacher to go over the material and estimate the level of difficulty. which I think is a good approach. As a teacher, you must know what you're giving your students, because you can't just give them a college level piece and expect them to play it. To what grade level your students are playing at. All right. And the approach 2, assessing students and materials together. So the first one it gives is closed testing, which is the closed procedure is to assess reading comprehension. And the example the book gives is a passage of 300 words in which words are deleted, and the student then fills in the blank after reading the passage. And I saw that it would do it like every 5 words. It would take out a word. And I think that could work for music. Having the student side read a certain piece, and then after playing it, writing it, like taking away, every 2 measures or something, taking away a note and having them put it back, which I think when like, for example, when you're in marching band, most schools require you to memorize the piece. And so I think that would be a good approach. And then the next one is reading guides, a teacher-made device intended primarily to help students locate, consider, and write about important information in assigned reading materials. So I think that could help too in memorizing. There's places where you can use the reading guides, and it could also help with like reading ability of the students when reading music. I know there's things you can do like a reading guide, but instead it's like remembering to look up when you get lost, or there's certain things you can do, to help the student, and it's almost like locating just different examples in music. And the last thing is judging the context of instruction, which is self-assessing your own teaching. And I know the book gave a whole example of it, but I don't really think it applies to music. It does in some ways, but not really. And what I got out of it is that you have to see how much they're reading, So, if you never change your music, or you never really change the difficulty, maybe that's where something is missing for people going to the next level, or things like that. And that is it.